Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the December HMIS user meeting. If you haven't already, please enter your name into the chat box, your name and agency into the chat box so we know who's participating. We've got a healthy agenda for you here today. And we have an update on the 2022 HMIS user fees, HMIS Part 2 recertification, the 2022 HICS Sheltered Pit, which is everyone's favorite. We wanted to do a brief recap of this year and kind of go back to some of the things that we've discussed this year as a reminder. Also an update on the LSA, how to store multiple ROIs in HMIS, as well as a new knowledge base article for coordinated entry clients. We have an update on the Q3 data quality report cards, looker schedule cleanup, some new paper forms for annual assessment and exit, the data and performance management meeting agenda, and a reminder about the Christmas holiday. And then we will have a little bit of Q&A at the end if anyone has any questions they want to discuss. All right, so first up is the 2022 HMIS user fees. We do have annual fees that are required for agencies that are receiving funding that requires HMIS participation. As a reminder, these are flat fees that are collected on an annual basis, and the fees are determined based on the number of active users at the agency at the end of the calendar year. So if you do need to do any cleanup on your users that have access to HMIS, you can start doing that now. We will also be sending out an email to the agencies about this, both about cleaning up your users, and also there may be an increase in HMIS user fees due to the number of new users that we've added this year, as well as an increase in charge from our vendor Bitfocus. So if any changes in those charges do happen, they will be approved by the COC board, and that will likely happen in the next month or two. All right, not seeing any questions. Next up, the HMIS Part 2 recertification. So this is another process that we are doing on an annual basis. And the purpose is to give users the opportunity to receive feedback on how they're using HMIS, and which will help with our data quality as a whole to make sure that users are entering their data correctly. So the HMIS Part 2 recertification is now available, and let me attempt to find it for you really quickly. Oops. So it is similar to the HMIS Part 2 skills test, but it is a lot shorter. Based on the feedback we received last year, we limited the tasks to just those tasks that are required to be completed by pretty much any user in HMIS. So you'll just have to go through this task list and the training site. And then once you have completed the recertification, you will ask your agency administrator to submit the HMIS Part 2 recertification form, and we will review the data that you've entered into the training site, and we will provide feedback on that data. And once you submit that form, you are okay for another year, and there's nothing additional that you need to do. So the recertification is required for any users that are active in HMIS and their account was created before June 1st of this year. Users that have read-only access do not need to complete the recertification, but other users will need to complete it. And if you want to see a list of the users at your agency that do need to complete this recertification, You can either submit a ticket to us and we can give you that list, or you can also run the active users look that is available in Clarity under the data analysis tab. There's a user management section in there, and you can see active users. And once you pull that report, it'll look something like this. So it'll have your agency name, your active users' first and last name, their username and email, and you can see what kind of role they have. So to see those users that need to complete the training, you will filter out any users that are read-only since they don't need to complete it. And you will also filter out any users whose added date was on or after June 1st. And the remaining users are who needs to complete the training. So if you want to look at this yourself, you can go ahead and do that. Or if you submit a ticket, we're happy to give you that list. We'll also send out a reminder email a couple weeks before with any users that haven't completed the training that need to. So you'll have that information also. And the recertification should be completed by January 31st for your users. If the training isn't completed by then, their account will be locked until they do complete the recertification. And then I got a question. Do admins need to complete this recertification? If yes, what about admins that were added after June 1st? Admins only need to complete the recertification if their user account was created before June 1st. So if you're a new admin that started in July or August, you do not need to complete this recertification. You will need to do it next year. Any other questions? All right. HICS Sheltered Pit. Oh wait, I got another question. Will an announcement be sent to HMIS users, or should admins begin communicating with users? Admins should definitely start communicating with users. We will send an email also with this information, but the sooner that your users can start this process, the better. Also, going back really quick, agency administrators, when you are submitting the recertification form, we recommend that you limit the form to 5 users at a time. Instead of waiting until all 30 of your users complete the recertification. And the reason is because the more users that you have on a single form, the longer it takes us to review every user and then respond to you. So if you limit it to 5 or less, we can respond more quickly and give you that feedback. So keep that in mind as you're submitting this form also. All right, HICS Sheltered Pit. So the HICS Sheltered Pit is coming up very quickly at an alarming rate even. And so a quick overview, the HICS Sheltered Pit are required by HUD to be completed on an annual basis. And they are counts that occur in the last 10 days of January. The HIC is the housing inventory count, and it is a list of all of the projects and beds in Orange County that are designated for homeless clients. And the pit is the point in time count, and it is the sheltered pit is a count of clients that are in emergency shelter or transitional housing projects on the same night. So, and this doesn't, it doesn't matter if the agency is participating in HMIS or not. This is all beds in Orange County, regardless of HMIS participation, and all clients in an emergency shelter or transitional housing, whether or not they're in HMIS. And so the HIC includes housing projects, so emergency shelter, transitional housing, permanent supportive housing, other permanent housing, rapid rehousing. They all are required to participate. Hopefully, most of you have gone through this experience in the past, and so this isn't necessarily new information for you. But it is a long process because it involves a lot of agencies and a lot of review of data. So we did include a timeline here for you to kind of plan out your next couple months. This could change, but this is the timeline that we're working with. The night of the sheltered count will be January 24th. And we will likely do a training before that. So we'll send out notification when that happens also, but the night of the count is the 24th. The agencies will need to complete their data entry into HMIS by the 27th of January. The following day, 211 OC will send the HIC answer form from last year, as well as the agency's PIT data to all agencies. This is meant to help the agencies quickly review their data and make revisions as necessary. In most cases, your HIC data should not change from the previous year unless you have added or removed projects, or if your inventory capacity has changed for any of your projects. So in most cases, the HIC, you should mostly just be reviewing what we're sending you. The PIT is obviously clients that are active on that night, so those numbers will change every year, but we will tell you what we have if you're participating in HMIS. And then you will have 2 weeks to review your HIC answer form and your PIT data and make any corrections as needed. And then you will submit your final HIC and PIT forms or reports to 211 OC on February 11th. And then, which is a Friday, starting the following Monday for the next month, 211 OC will be reviewing what all the agencies have submitted and correcting forms, working with the agencies as needed. Once that is completed, 211 will do data entry into HDX, which is the software where we submit our data to HUD. So we'll complete that data entry, and then we will contact the agencies and say, hey, this is what we entered. Can you confirm that that data entry is right? And then the agencies will have until March 31st to confirm that data. Again, these dates can fluctuate a little bit, but the solid dates are the 24th, night of the count, 27th, the date of your data entry, the 28th is when we will send it to you, and the final due date for your forms is February 11th. And then these other dates kind of fluctuate a little bit with the process. We will go over this a little bit more in January and provide some more details on the training, but we wanted to make everyone aware now. And a couple things that you can start on now to help with this process is if you are behind on your data entry for any of your projects, start working on that now. Because for agencies that participate in HMIS, the number of clients that are active in your project is based on what's in HMIS. So if we tell you there's 10 clients in your project and you say, oh, there should be 30, we're going with 10 because that's what's in HMIS. So start working on your data entry now if you're behind. Also, if you have any new projects that need to be set up in HMIS between now and January, please work with us on those as soon as possible so we can get those set up. Because again, we're using the information that's in HMIS. If you have any projects that are closing, please work on getting those closed as soon as possible also. So that means exiting all your clients that are in the project and then notifying us so that we can deactivate the project in HMIS. And those are really the two big things that you can do today to start helping yourself and us with this process. All right. I got another question about the recertification. Can you send out the recertification training required for HMIS users? Yes, we will send out an email about the recertification as a reminder for everybody. And then we will also send out information on the HICS Pit training when that occurs. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So I'm going to move on. I wanted to kind of wrap back around really quick on what we've been working on this year and shared with the agencies. Obviously, this isn't a complete list. There's a lot of other things that are happening on a regular basis that's not on here. But I wanted to highlight new functionality or new reports or new knowledge base articles that may be helpful to you and your users in case you missed those user meetings in the past. So first, obviously, coordinated entry went live in HMIS for our entire coordinated entry system. So individuals and veterans and youth were added. Families were already participating, but now everybody's in there. So obviously there is a bunch of knowledge base articles, both on the coordinated entry functionality as well as reports. So this link, which I will also include in the meeting minutes, is to the coordinated entry system section of our knowledge base. So you can see all of the articles we have if you want to revisit any of that new functionality. Another thing that was added this year were the moving on and stepping up assessments. This is also related to coordinated entry. So these assessments should be completed for clients that are in a permanent supportive housing project and no longer need as intensive services, or clients in rapid rehousing that need more intensive services. So these assessments are completed in the coordinated entry project, and then the client can be rematched to another opportunity that meets their needs. So this link is to the user meeting where we first talked about this, if you want to look into more details on that. We also had a number of new reports that were released this year. And we have links to all the user meetings where these were discussed in more detail if you want to revisit them. The first is the HMIS user dashboard. So this is the dashboard that is available in Clarity when you log in on the little dashboard screen. So this has basic information on your agency, like number of active users, number of new enrollments, or not active users, active clients, new enrollments, service information, that kind of stuff. If you are interested in that, you can look at the meeting minutes. The data accuracy dashboard, which is probably my personal favorite of all of these, is available on the data analysis page in Clarity. And it looks at your data to make sure it makes sense and to help you figure that out. So for example, it looks at clients that have a date of birth that's after their project enrollment date. It looks at clients whose date of homelessness began after their project start, that kind of stuff. It also has some demographic information so that you can see, for example, if your project requires all clients to be veterans, you can see if there are clients that are not veterans, so you can fix that data. And then we also added the universal data elements, data completeness dashboard. and the program-specific data elements data completeness dashboards. So these dashboards are similar, but they are for different sets of data. What they do is there is a separate chart for each data element, and it will tell you for each of your projects what percentage of your clients have a valid response versus client doesn't know or client reviews versus missing responses. And in some cases, it will also tell you if there are any data issues with like your social security number or date of birth. So the universal data elements dashboard includes data that's mostly on the client's profile screen. So gender, race, ethnicity, name, those types of fields. And the program specific data elements includes data elements on the enrollment and exit screen, like the disability types, income, health insurance, that kind of thing. So if any of those are interesting to you, you can also check the meeting minutes on those. And then we did have a few knowledge base articles that we added this year that are new and could be helpful for yourself or your staff. The first is a new staff onboarding article. So this is a good place to send any new users that you have that are new to HMIS. It includes the trainings that need to be completed, reports that they could look at, other trainings besides what's required that can help them kind of get familiar with HMIS. And it just kind of helps them get more comfortable and familiar with HMIS and what they'll be doing. The second is the APR submittal preparation dashboard. So this is mostly for COC funded agencies. This is a dashboard available on the data analysis tab that will look at the data that you are going to submit on your APR and checks for some high-level errors to kind of help you with that submission process. And then the last article is for users that are having problems logging into HMIS, especially if it's related to like firewalls or something else that's preventing you from getting into HMIS. This article can help you navigate that. And hopefully will make that process a little bit easier. So again, this isn't a comprehensive list, but we wanted to briefly bring these up again in case anybody missed these meetings, and so we can help you get back there and look at these items. All right. I am not seeing any questions. So we will include descriptions of each of these and links to the user meeting where they were discussed if you would like to revisit any of them. All right.
Good morning, everyone. The LCA Data Collection has officially opened this week. The HMIS team and BitFocus are working on uploading the LSA report into HDX. We wanted to give all the agency a heads up to keep an eye out for an email that will be sent in the next few weeks regarding corrections. Some common errors and warnings are issues with relationships to head of households, errors with dates, and overlapping enrollments. If you may have any questions regarding the LSA corrections, please feel free to submit a support ticket to the HMIS help desk. The HMIS help desk has been receiving a handful of tickets regarding release of information in the past few weeks and wanted to review this with everyone. If you're working with a client that already has an active ROI, then you won't be able to create another record. You can, however, add a signed consent form under the Files tab for the client's profile. As you can see to the right, when you're under the Files tab, you can upload a file and select the personal identification and additional release of information category. We will also include a knowledge base article for additional information regarding accessing and completing ROIs.
Good morning, everyone. We have a new knowledge base article that is available for everyone. We've had a number of requests come in asking to find out how many of your clients are participating in the coordinated entry system. So we created this sort of procedure so you can go through and run 2 reports, which will pull the data and give you that information. So the first report that you'll need to run is the Universal Data Element Data Completeness Dashboard Details Report under your agency. This will give you the clients that are participating in your projects. For the coordinated entry system active clients, you'll need to choose either between individuals or families. And for those, you will need to switch your agency to either the County of Orange for individuals or to Family Solutions Collaborative for the family entries. And under those agencies, you'll run the corresponding reports, either individual coordinated entry status for active enrollments or family coordinated entry status for active enrollments for those entries. And then once you do that, you'll come back to your Universal Data Elements report or Data Completeness report, and you'll run a VLOOKUP, which will pull those entries, CES entries into your report. And then it'll give you a sort of list of NA versus the actual client identifier. The ones that are listed as NA are the clients that are not in the coordinated entry system. And just a caveat with that, you should also select the head of household is participating so that you get basically the correct information. And so this knowledge base article will have all the steps. It's very easy to follow, and it does have all this information, and it is provided in the link on this slide, and we'll provide a little bit more information in the meeting minutes. So it's a little bit clear for you to run these reports and get that information.
Heather?
Good morning, everyone. The FY 2022 project annual assessment and exit forms in English and Spanish are now available for use. They incorporate the recent changes to the HUD standards. So in addition to the no federal funding and general COC annual assessment and exit forms, separate forms are available for projects that receive HOPWA, PATH, RI, SSVF, and VASH funding. So to access, go to the OCHMIS website, go to Forms and Documents, and then click on Client Forms and Notices.
Linda?
Hello everyone. So we are in the process of cleaning out any scheduled looks that are no longer being used by your agency. So for that, we will need your cooperation on this. So please let us know if you're no longer in need of any scheduled looks by sending us a ticket, including information with the subject of the email, which is the name of the look. Please provide the scheduled dates and also the emails in which are receiving those looks, if you need any emails that need to be removed. And then also you can have also submit an attachment of the email thread if needed for reference. And we thank you for your cooperation on this. So I think we have a question.
Oh, yes, sorry. The question is, what is meant by schedule dates? Linda, do you want to take that, or do you want me to?
So pretty much it's gonna be the date or the time in which the schedules are being sent out.
Yeah, so it's usually, if you can just say, I received this on December 1st, or you know, December 15th, or whatever date you received the email, that would be helpful for us to find the schedule. All right.
So a couple of weeks ago, we did send out an email with the attachments to make the corrections to the following, which would be the Q3 data quality report card corrections. We also have system performance measure corrections. And then we also included who's housing movement dates and also date of birth corrections. So if these corrections were applicable to your agency, you did receive an email with these corrections added to your Dropbox. So I just want to thank you, everyone who took the time to make these corrections. These are very important as we are in the process of finalizing the Q3 data quality report cards. And they are to be published by the end of the month. Once they have been published, we will be sending out an email to notify all the agency administrators so that you will be able to review your agency's data quality. So we are coming to an end with the 2021 HMIS agency audits. So I just want to thank you for all of the agencies that have met with us already. However, there are still some agencies that are still pending these audits. So we are in the process of sending out the rest of the scheduling emails. So I do want to remind you to check your emails as a response is needed to schedule your audit, and also check your spam folder as well. And like always, we look forward to meeting with you.
So this month's agenda for the Data and Performance Management Committee meeting will discuss HMIS policies and procedures, as well as the Transitional Housing Project Performance Report. This meeting will take place next week, Thursday, December 9th at 1:30.
And the OC HMIS Help Desk will be closed on Friday, December 24th, 2021, and Friday, December 31st, 2021. We'll be returning on the following Mondays, so that's the 27th and the 3rd, to assist you. So please plan accordingly.
All right, so that is all of the agenda items we wanted to share with you today. We do have some time for some Q&A. If anyone has any questions regarding any of the agenda topics or just anything related to HMIS in general, please either unmute yourself or put those in the chat, and we can spend a couple minutes on that. If you have not already, please also enter your agency name into the chat box so we know who is participating. As usual, we will be sending out the recording of this meeting as well as meeting minutes probably by early next week for if you need to review anything again, or if your users weren't able to attend. The next meeting will be on January 5th. Ooh. And we will send out the agenda for that meeting a few days before, and the meeting will be at 10 o'clock. So we will stay on for a couple minutes in case there are any questions. Other than that, everyone is free to jump off if you have other things to do.
Hi, I was hoping to look at 2 slides ago. If you can click back 2 slides, I just wanted to look at the details for that meeting. Thank you.
All right. We also got a question. Can you review the release of information slide one more time? Yes, so I'll give another minute on this slide, and then Elizabeth, can you go over the ROI slide in a second?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go back. Here we go.
So when you're working with a client in HMIS, you might see under their release of information that there's already an active ROI. So that means that your agency cannot create another record there. But what you can do is add a file under the Files tab, a consent form that you collected with your agency. So you can see to the right, under the Files tab, you can upload that consent form and list it as personal identification, additional release of information, and that's where you can store the consent form that you collected from that client.
All right. And then I'll go back to the slide. Any other questions? All right, I'm not seeing anything else coming in, so we will wrap up the meeting. Thank you all so much for attending and for your questions, and have a great holiday, and we will talk to you next month.